Hey friends, Christy here. Welcome to my kitchen counter. We are so glad that you've joined our Weeknight Wins meal prep class. And I just have a question for you. Comment below, have you ever participated in a freezer meal workshop? Or maybe you have done freezer meals, or maybe you've done once a month cooking. Have you ever done that? I did that when my boys were little. And y'all, that's exhausting. It's not only exhausting, but it also takes a big chunk of time. It takes a big chunk of time, right? And again, planning and scheduling, you can totally do that. The nice thing about this class is it's super flexible, right? We are going to share a lot of tips and ideas along the way. We will end up giving you, your consultant will be giving you a Google Doc full of all the written recipes. We're also gonna have videos of the recipes. But you may be like a lot of us, right? That dinner time for you might feel rushed, might be a little stressful. As dinner time approaches, you kind of start getting that uneasy feeling in your stomach. And I tell you what, that was a big thing, especially when all four boys were home and when as they got older, it got a little bit easier, except the schedule got a little crazier, right? So this class is not a freezer meal class, and it's not a full day of cooking class. We want to give you some simple tips and ideas. We want to give you a lot of great recipes that also have some flexibility built in them to help fit into your schedule. And it'll save you time and then money in the long run too. So that's kind of fun. And when you can get a good meal on the table really quickly, this is gonna save you time, save you money down the road, because you're not gonna be going out to eat or driving through or taking out to pick up on the way home on those crazy busy nights, because that can really add up, right? So we're gonna share a few tips on this video just to get you started. I want to encourage you, because as we're getting people added into the group here, we're going to be having a couple of videos. One of them is called Power Cooking. The idea that we're using here is power cooking. So you're going to have a power cooking chicken and a power cooking ground beef video. This video and those two videos will be pinned across the top. We will also have an easy way that you can search for like all the chicken recipes or all the beef recipes. So be watching for those instructions too. But the idea behind power cooking is, you know what, if you're gonna brown up 1.5 pounds of ground beef for tacos on Tuesday, you might as well brown up 5 pounds of ground beef, pull out 1.5 pounds to use for your tacos, and then bag up the other that you can use for future meals, right? Because the biggest part of your meal is already prepped and you were doing that activity anyway. So again, when you plan this, then on those nights that you have smaller amount of time, you can just pull out that bag of already cooked chicken or beef and be ready to go, right? So here's the thing too. All of the individual recipes will be posted by Monday. The power cooking chicken and the power cooking beef will be posted sometime on Sunday, definitely by Sunday evening, so you can kind of get a plan for it. Our featured recipes have 5 chicken recipes and 5 ground beef recipes as their base. But here's the thing. I talked about flexibility. You can certainly use ground chicken or ground turkey if you prefer that over ground beef. I know we've also substituted pulled pork with some of the chicken and beef recipes, because my husband, when he smokes meat, we usually smoke a lot of it, right? Kind of power cooking on the smoker too. So just keep that in mind, that you can swap out some of those things. And you're gonna have enough of the pantry items. This is the size of the seasonings. I should have had the rubs are a little smaller, but they're a little more concentrated too. So you're gonna have enough seasonings to do all of these recipes. You can even do some of the recipes more than once. So just to let you know, you're gonna have a lot of flexibility. And in the recipes too, we're gonna share little tips and ideas. We're gonna share some other tools that kind of help make the prep process a little easier. If you're grating cheese, you might as well grate a whole bunch of cheese if you have the need for grated cheese in other meals you're doing that week, if that makes sense. So that's just a little idea. So I wanted to share with you a couple of tips, some things that you're gonna need as you start this process. So I already mentioned the seasonings. I wanna also tell you that the lids of the seasonings and the rubs are roughly a tablespoon. So if you have a recipe that needs a tablespoon, the other trick is do you see how I'm rolling the bottle? This helps the ice effect, so you don't have all of a sudden it's overflowing your measuring spoon or your lid. So just roll it, because sometimes the seasonings can get packed in and then you have your seasoning left to go. So I'm gonna put that back in because I don't need it right now. So that's a little tip with your seasonings and your rubs. Now, some of the recipes might call for a smaller amount, so you can do half of a tablespoon, or you might pull out your spoons, okay? So the other thing, as you are preparing, get freezer meal bags. Even though I said this is not a freezer meal class, here's the thing. I like to get the freezer meal, or the freezer bags, and I like the slide zips. They're just quicker. I like to use these even if I'm not freezing. When I'm doing my power cooking and I'm gonna do 5 pounds of ground beef, I'm gonna portion it out. Once it cools a bit, I'm gonna portion it out so I have at least 3 or 4 portions, right? We usually kind of go a little bit heavy on the meat, on the protein, so we might have about 1.5 pounds for a meal. And did you see how I just rolled down the top? Roll down the top and grab a bowl. My batter bowl is my favorite to use because it's got a nice, big, sturdy base. And then, as I'm taking my cooled beef and I'm putting it out, I will be able to use this. Also, I forgot to grab this out. If you have a kitchen scale, this is gonna be great too. Pampered Chef used to have one. I don't think we have it in the outlet anymore. But if you have a kitchen scale, get one that you can tare. And what that means is, you can take, this one has pounds on it. I can put my bowl and my bag in here, and then I can hit the tare button, which zeroes it out. So I can tell when I have 1.5 pounds in this bag. And then I can make sure I get all of the air out. It's also great to flatten your beef out or your shredded chicken out before you freeze it, because just think, you can have those bags of your frozen protein or your protein in your freezer without taking up a lot of space. Again, you don't have to freeze it. If your meal plan calls for chicken or beef to be used a couple times that week, just put them in your refrigerator, and the bag will be a simple way to store that as well. So there's one tip. You also want to have some foil. Aluminum foil is going to be nice for draining grease. So this happens to be an example. We had done bacon on our bar pan. And so after the bar pan had cooled, we had eaten the bacon, had done our thing. We take the foil and just wrap it around. Now, you're gonna definitely need a bigger bowl when you do 5 pounds of ground beef. But what you do is you just take the foil, put it over top. And then what I do on my bigger bowl, I can put my colander, put the foil over top of this, put my colander, pour that hot beef into the colander, and then the grease drains down into the foil. Then I just took this out of the freezer. We did this yesterday, and I took it out of the freezer. Now I can just go like this, put it in my garbage out in the garage. And my bowl is nice and clean. It's not greasy and gross. So there's some pre-cooking tips for you. Make sure, I usually just use the heavy duty foil. My husband uses this when he's smoking anyway. Freezer bags. Make sure you have a nice sturdy bowl. Our classic batter bowl is back. If you need one, talk to your consultant. If you have any questions at all through this process, maybe you have done something like this before and you have some tips that maybe I forgot to share, comment below. We can all learn from each other, and that is the beautiful part about this class. Thanks for now.